Donald, I take your point. I'm going to move on because these one of the problems with these stories, and of course, speaking as someone that used to write them, is that you only ever see one side of the issue. So the newspapers for the last 2 days have been all over the comments of Elen Rives, the former fiancée of Frank Lampard. But thus far, of course, the man himself has not commented at all, which is why I'm delighted to say that he's just phoned in. Frank Lampard joins me on the line now. Frank, you thanks ever so much for getting in touch.
No problem.
The contention is, as you know, in the newspapers over the last couple of days, you're being painted as a bit of a rat. I'd just like to offer you the opportunity to defend yourself first.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not sure about maybe being painted in the paper as a bit of a rat. The reason I'm calling in is my sister just phoned me up. She's been listening to the show, and she was slightly distressed, particularly by your comments, that calling me weak and scum. Is that right? I missed the show.
No, I didn't call you scum. I suggested that any man who can comfortably allow his children to live in circumstances inferior to his own would deserve that description. But of course, what you have now is the opportunity to tell us why you don't.
Yeah, first of all, you're incorrect to say that anyway. My situation is where I've split up, as a lot of people do now across the board, regardless, I think, of what profession you are, whether you're a footballer or whether you work, you know, in a bank or wherever. I think that nowadays, and unfortunately, I've split up with my girlfriend. And my kids will never ever live in, you know, inferior circumstances for me. I just caught the end of your conversation with a gentleman then, and you said that about people that are working and about their kids, and it should be all about their kids. That's exactly how I live my life now. Everything I do in my career, in my football terms, before I had kids, it was all for myself, to get on myself. And since I've had kids, every penny I earn and every ounce and every yard I run on the football pitch is for my kids. Unfortunately, I've split up with my girlfriend, so they're now living in a temporary flat, which, you know, is actually in Fulham, Chelsea, and it's not a bad flat at all. I'll let you know. And I'm actually buying a house at the moment, which is going to be of equal living standard, if not more, to mine.
But they're not waking up in the own. This is. I appreciate it's a little uncomfortable to have your personal life picked over, but that's the nature of the world you live in. They're not waking up in the bedrooms that they've known all their lives, that you've decorated for them, that they've got all their stuff in.
Unfortunately, you're wrong. You're wrong there, because you don't know any of the terms of my thing. But when I've slept with my girlfriend. Unfortunately,
I've only got her side of the story, Frank, which is pretty damning, isn't it?
Let me explain to you what happened, right? Cool. She was actually out in a club or a bar, and someone came up to her, approached her, didn't actually say that they was a journalist, and actually got her talking after she had a few drinks, right? And caught her.
Actually, as your sister will tell you, that's what I suggested at the very top of the programme. It probably happened.
Fine. So my sister did suggest it, but the thing is that happened, right? And that's fair enough. Now we are splitting up. Unfortunately, when you split up, obviously you're not going to carry on living in the same place. That's a fact of life. Unfortunately, that means that and it hurts me every day when I wake up and my kids are not there. But when you split up, unfortunately, as anyone who splits up will tell you, you're not going to carry on living together. Luckily, I've got a relationship with my ex-girlfriend where we've decided that we're going to share custody, or whatever you might call it, of them. So for 3 nights a week, or half the nights of the week, and I'm away probably 2 or 3 nights for my football anyway, the kids wake up in my house. I look after my kids solely. I have a nanny that comes, but I spend all the time with my kids. I wake up, my kid wakes up at 3 in the morning, if my kid wakes up at 6 in the morning, regardless of whether I have a football match or what, they wake up in the bedrooms I decorated for them, and that's what they will always do.
But not at the moment, but that is the plan for the immediate future.
Doing at the moment. That's what they're doing at the moment. I don't know what made you think that they're not.
I'm only going on what has been printed in all the newspapers, which is, of course, what everyone except those intimately involved in the story can go on.
Where did it say that they're not staying with me anymore?
I'm in a small flat waiting for my own flat with our 2 daughters. He is in our house, which he has turned into a bachelor pad.
Yeah, but where did it say that they wasn't staying in my house?
Well, if you describe something as a bachelor pad, Frank, the general concern, the general assumption is going to be that it's not a family home.
Yeah, that was her description when she's drunk, yes, but what I'm telling you now is, the problem is, you read the papers now. Unfortunately, if you're going to be a man that reads the papers and takes everything as gospel truth, and then on the radio starts calling people weak and scum, then that's a sign of how you are. That isn't a sign of the reality. Luckily enough, like the last call I heard, there are some actually genuine people out there that don't.
Well, that is the nature of what I do for a living.
Yeah,
my phone lines are wide open, and people can call me an idiot, people can call me whatever they want, and people like you can phone in and say why the newspapers have got it wrong. But you'll accept that the 60 million people in this country don't have the privilege of phoning up Frank Lampard for his side of the story. They're going to read what they see in the papers and draw their own conclusion.
Yeah, that doesn't make it right that they can draw the conclusion that you're wrong, which is a completely negative one, and where you're calling me weak and scum.
I was asking questions to which you have now provided some answers, and for me, if you want to get it down to brass tacks, for me, if you've got little girls, and this is going to sound awful, but I have little girls of 3 and 1, I can't conceive of any circumstances in which I wouldn't fight tooth and flipping nail to hold my family together. And
excuse me, what do you think I've been doing for the last 2 years? Let me tell you something now, right? My mother died a year ago today, right? Which has been a huge impact on my life, on my family's life, on my sister's life. And unfortunately, that's had a huge impact on my relationship at home. And there is nothing, I wish I could do a lot about that, but unfortunately I can't do nothing about that. So I find it insulting that you're telling me you would fight tooth and nail, insinuating that I wouldn't fight tooth and nail. That's what I've spent time doing. You don't know anything about me, and you're insinuating that I'm weak and scum because I haven't fought tooth and nail. The hardest part of this whole breakout for me is not waking up with my kids every day. So before you start insinuating and calling people weak and scum on a radio station, sitting on a high horse, which you are, because I hope one day that your wife or your girlfriend doesn't come to you and say, I don't want to be with you anymore, and unfortunately that means you won't see the kids for a few days a week. That will hurt you as well, but you'll have to deal with it.
It would break my heart, Frank.
Yeah, and it's broken my heart. Do you think I'm happy?
Of course I don't think that you're happy, and that's why I'm delighted you've taken this opportunity to have your say.
Well, then you should stop insinuating things.
Well, I'm not insinuating anything, Frank. I'm merely describing a news story, my friend, and I appreciate that you...
Listen, you're saying any man that lets his kids live in inferior circumstances to him is weak and scum.
Yes, I am saying that, and you're telling me you're not that man, so in a way you agree with me.
Exactly. No, yeah, but I'm not. Yeah, but you're always insinuating about me.
No, I was describing a news story. Let's not get...
Listen, at the time of saying that statement, you're talking about me, correct or not? The last phone conversation I heard was about me. My sister's been listening for the last half an hour, and the conversation's about me.